But how you been doing over there, hamster, besides muting your microphone?
I was just coughing again because I told you the story. I had to work and I'm not drinking. That's the biggest problem. The biggest problem.
Arnold always... That was a twofer.
Why?
The penis straw hit the more cock button.
Oh, no. The penis straw.
That is... No, you want to talk about some paranormal shit right there. I bet the ghost got in the door, and that's why it hasn't opened, and it's just been waiting for you to hit me with this and poke at that fucking button. And now, thanks to a fan of the show, we have flesh-colored dongs.
All right.
Just so I can hit him right in his fucking grunt mouth. Jimmy B, not to be confused with Jimmy Bones, and he is life save number 482.
All right.
And he sent this on over a while back, and I think it just kind of slipped under the radar because it was sent back in October. But he says, Dear Pop, I've been watching your videos for the past few years now and have tried to spread the word of mgtow to the younger men that I work with. Your videos did indeed save my life after a bitter and bad breakup during the middle of the coof outbreak. To be honest, you saved me from doing some bad stuff to a few people. I know a gentleman who is no longer with us who saved you from doing some bad shit to a few people.
Yes, he did.
It's important to be that guy just so your friends don't catch a charge.
It's important to be that guy so your friends don't die.
Yes, or other people. Thank you for what you've done, not only for me, but for the 400-plus men that might not be here today if it weren't for your work. I salute you, sir. My letter to you today is about the paranormal video that you put out in October on the 27th of 2022. You talked about your childhood home being haunted. My family home was also haunted. I believe it was the scene of 2 generations of infanticide.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus. Really?
Oh, or, back what they used to just call, at-home abortions. Because, if you outlaw abortions, women will just find another way to get them. But if you outlaw guns, we'll just have a utopia, right?
Yep.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're talking there's probably some shake and bake abortions taking place?
Shake and bake. Yeah, you ever seen the movie Dumplings? Don't watch it. It'll make you puke. It started with my parents bringing my older brother home from the hospital as a newborn. My oldest brother was already 5 at the time. Year was 1977. Like many of the parents did at the time and now, they had set up baby monitors. Ever since signs, I don't trust those things. Not more than a day after they brought my brother home, they began to hear a baby crying, but it never came over the monitors. My mother rushed upstairs to see what was wrong with my brother, and he was fast asleep. This happened a few more times after the next few days, and they even replaced the baby monitors, and the same thing kept happening. It only stopped once my brother was more than 8 years old, or 8 months old, sorry. 3 years later, I was born and brought into the house, and again, it started up. My mother did some digging and found out that the house had been owned by 2 generations of the same family. Both families had baby boys that died in the house of sudden infant death syndrome.
SIDS?
Not to be confused with SADS.
Yeah.
Which didn't exist until 2021. I wonder why.
Well, back then, I mean, the whole cribs and sleeping arrangements, it wasn't really a big thing. And kids got whacked.
Yeah. Sleeping studies for infants have really helped a lot.
Yes.
Over the past decades.
Yes, they have.
Well, they used to call it crib death, didn't they? I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
long time ago.
that was one of my horrible nightmares with my children.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Me too.
There was quite a few times in the middle of the night I'd be like, run right in there.
Yeah. You get so used to them waking you up. If they don't, you're like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
What
the fuck? There's silence,
wake 'em
man.
You wake up, just stumbling through the house like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, he's fine. It always sounds like Arnold is trying to tell Muslims how to eat. I don't know why that just came to mind.
Yeah.
I remember that there was somebody, one of my social media groups actually had to post a conversation because a Muslim dude came up to his barbecue truck and asked if the pulled pork was halal.
There you go.
And you wonder why people make fun of your religion. I'm just saying.
Well, all of every single religion we have, they're all wonky.
They all have some things that you can point at and be like, you're.
I mean, you have well. First of all, let's finish the story.
Okay.
Because I could talk about religious crazy.
Yeah, I know you could. You've read all the books. Out behind the house, when I was only 10, my older brother and I found a very old human nose bone. When I was around 15, there was an incident where a storage room door would open up at around 0300 on an almost regular basis, and the cat I had at the time would always hear it and go investigate. One morning, when I finally got the balls to do so, I went after my cat to make sure nothing was hurting him. I found him curled up in the storage room on a jacket, just purring away. He was acting like someone was giving him attention.
Oh, okay.
Seeing as nothing was hurting him, I just let it be.
Yeah, okay.
Years later, when my best friend had his second child, a boy, he brought him over to visit and have some dinner with the family. It was only about 2 hours after they left that evening that I heard a baby crying. I want to say that I'm sensitive to some type of this phenomenon. In my mid-20s, I did a lot of paranormal research into spirits and more so UFOs. My own experiences have been more based around those whom I've lost in life. One person that came back to me is my oldest brother, who was killed in a car accident. Oddly, he somehow knew he wasn't going to live long. Our last conversation a week before his accident was what he wanted me to do with his belongings if something happened to him. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
A few days after he died, I did see his spirit and actually communicated with him. I asked him a few questions and got direct answers. Two of my questions were, is there a heaven and is there a hell? What he said to me was quite interesting. My next incident was a week before my best friend, that was my dog, died. I saw my father in a dream. He had passed away some 3 years before, and I had never had a dream of him before. He told me that my friend would be leaving soon, but would not be gone. We actually spoke about things. He looked not as I last remembered him, but as he was when he was around my own age, oddly enough.
That's very common.
Yeah.
After my dog passed, I was crushed in a bad depression for several days. I was laying in my bed one night, and I felt him jump off the bed and walk across my legs to lie down next to me. You can say it was just a memory or my sorrow, but I felt the weight of his paws and was wide awake when it happened. The next couple of days, I would wake up, and there next to me on the bed was his impression. One night, I had another dream of my father again, and he talked to me. A noise at the foot of my bed awakened me. The noise was that of a dog pawing at the carpet like they do before they lay down. I patted the bed and told him to come up. The foot of the bed pressed down with weight, and then I felt him cuddle up to me. I looked at the clock to make sure I was awake and not dreaming. The time was 03:30. Outside temp was 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside was 65 degrees Fahrenheit. I reached down to touch him, and my open hand came in contact with what felt like as if I was touching arm hair barely. My dog sat up because not only did I feel him, but he felt me and scooted up close to my chest and laid against me. At this point, I tried to give him a hug like I always did when he was alive, and I actually felt something there. I can only describe it as trying to hug and hold water, solid yet not. It lasted for a few seconds, and then he was gone. I still see him from time to time because I suffer from really bad sleep apnea. That sucks.
Yeah.
At times, I actually stopped breathing in my sleep. The sleep study I had done showed that my oxygen levels dipped down to 70 at times.
Not good.
That's bad. That's a
Nope.
recipe for a heart attack later in life. Get yourself a CPAP machine, good sir.
Yep.
I know my dog is on the other side because one night I had a dream where I went to a really beautiful place and I saw my boy. He was super surprised to see me, came right up to me and licked me in the nose.
Nice.
We played a little bit, and then something called for him, and he walked me out of the area, and I woke up. My nose was actually wet. This has happened to me a few times, and I keep thinking of your videos often talking about the lobby. I fully believe you're right. After the first 2 times, he's not been really surprised to see me, but he always walks me back to this area. I often feel him around me. You may not believe what I have had to say, but I feel you're an open-minded person, and you have seen the lobby. This has probably given you some ability to be more in touch with the other side than most.
I imagine it does.
You spoke about your fishing trip to an area where I actually live and work in the Finger Lakes area. This area is actually a UFO hotspot. I've been there before myself, and you are telling the truth about how all noise stops in that area at
100%. 100%.
Not sure if you knew this or not, but north of that location, in a small town called Romulus, there's a place called the Seneca Army Depot. This is where, for a long time, all the nuclear weapons that were put onto ships, aircraft, or whatever were stored and maintained right there. I have worked with a few older guys that worked there. One of them actually worked on the weapons, and after a few years of talking to them and gaining their trust, I actually did get them to tell me some of their stories about seeing some odd things while working there. I've been in communication with David Politis, who was up in the Adirondack Mountains on top of Mount Marcy. I did hear the sound of a metal door closing near me when I was in the Boulder field. He's a good guy and will talk to you if you reach out to him. His research is for real. He deals only with facts and no bullshit. If you ever need help with any paranormal research or anything at all, let me know. I'd be happy to help you.
All right.
I have some stories on UFOs if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Don't believe half the crap you see the mainstream guys put out, though. They're sellouts or working off of bad intel.
Now, I just have to say, you said you asked your father questions, but then you didn't give it.
I want to know the answers. He said it was interesting. Let's move on. No.
All right, now, if it's too personal, I got it. But if you can share that, please email it to us because I think that's important stuff.
Yeah, help us out here, Jimmy B. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yep. And
listen, especially about the heaven and hell stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hey, you tell us what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Good stuff.
I never got beyond the lobby, so I can't. I'm glad.
But ever since then, or should I say, ever since then, you've been seeing lots of crazy shit.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.